What's up, guys? Master GTP here. I'm just making a quick little video. I wanted to discuss a thought that I had that just crossed my mind. Nothing too serious. This is just a hypothetical thought I had. And it really only applies at like a certain MMR range where a killer is well knowledgeable at the game and they like to play around things. This won't work in low MMR. However, yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning because I feel like it can sort of improve your quality of life in matches and maybe give you the cutting edge in your Survivor games. And that is that you should stop running Decisive Strike and Borrowed Time. I feel like while these perks are meta, and they are definitely meta for a great reason, typically there is no real giveaway that these perks are in play, and killers tend to play around them no matter what. I know I do this quite often. I never go after the person that was just unhooked because I assume that they had borrowed time, and if I do, I wait out the borrowed time anyways. And there's no way of me knowing that they have it. And then also Decisive Strike. There are some times where I risk eating a Decisive Strike. However, most of the time it is best to play it safe and leave the person either slugged or don't go after them at all for a minute until I see them heal or touch a generator. That way I know the Decisive Strike is gone because it's just not worth the risk. You do not know that a survivor has Decisive Strike until they use it on you, and you do not know that a survivor has borrowed time until they use it on you. The only way you would know is if you were able to spot and count all 4 perks of the rescuing survivor and all 4 perks of the survivor that you were trying to tunnel to make sure that borrowed time and Decisive Strike is not in play. These perks are so strong in the fact that you do not even have to run them to be able to get value out of them. So I feel like even running these perks in like this typical meta build, which is probably one of the most common meta builds that I see, where you have DS Unbreakable, 60 seconds of immunity, you have Dead Hard, and you have Borrowed Time. You don't need Decisive Strike and Borrowed Time, because normally killers are going to play around it like you have it already. Now, sure, there's times where a killer will risk the DS and try to pick you up and say, okay, I can eat a DS now, or I'm going to risk this person having DS because the risk outweighs the punishment, and the reward is you know, a lot better. In most cases, I would say you can get away with either just not running borrowed time or not running DS. I know I haven't run DS or borrowed time in quite a while. I find whenever I run DS, killers typically play around it, and I don't end up getting tunneled. Sometimes I get tunneled whenever I don't run it, and then that's a weird thing. But like, it's really just kind of a 50-50 whether or not the killer decides, okay, I'm going to tunnel and try to eat this DS or hope that they don't have it, or they just play around it. And I think that in slightly more cases, they just play around it no matter what. Meaning that you could not run these perks and instead run something else. So I would keep the Unbreakable, because picking yourself up off the ground, while you could have the fear in the killer's eyes, having Unbreakable is better than not having Unbreakable. Having Dead Hard or Sprint Burst or any exhaustion perk is better than not. So what would you run in your perk slots? Well, really anything that you want. You could run Boon Circle of Healing. You could run Adrenaline. You could run Prove Thyself to speed up gens. You could run Blast Mine. You could run Any Means Necessary, the most meta perk in the game. It's the most meta perk in the game, guys. Listen to me. It's the most meta perk in the game. Come on, run Any Means. Run Any Means. Stop running DS. Run Any Means.